Yeah, okay.
I'm actually up to Matina in here. It's the Mem Daled Amid Aleph, the third paragraph. Matina, but Mishnah, Matina B'Chachamim Omer Lokai Akoma Isa Bereisha. It's not going everything which it says on the beginning of the Mishnah. And he brings an example here. Ganav v'tavach b'Shabbos, Ganav v'tavach la'avodah zara, Ganav v'tashor aniska v'tavacho, Shav arba chamisha divrei Rabbi Meir. These are all considered to be proper shchitos, which is obviously the question is why, but that's the Gemara deals that there. Chachamim potrim. I would say your example arba chamisha. But Gemara osam kika patra rabban ashara. They exempt you from the other payments by avodah zarah v'shor nisko, because there it's like cumulative rabbi, right? You're doing an avera of avodah zarah at the same time that you're doing the shechita, so you're going to be potter, right?
Okay.
So so it's not necessarily going on Ganav B'Tavach B'Shabbos, because Ganav B'Tavach B'Shabbos, even though you could be in this is the Raisa, but it's a shechita ruya, because if there's a cholet. So it's not Chem Pocher is not going in the entire Mishnah. Sometimes there's even a word in the same which is not going to say, but the Reish Kis and Perka Shoga be a mask or bias. Okay, I'm not sure it's worth looking that up now. Let's go on to the next one. Pamim lo diye katana b'mishnah b'shura b'davar muat. B'reish Baba Basra. Baba Basra. Gee, I think it's talking about if you have a wall of I don't know if it's referring to this, but if you have the Gemara Mishnah is talking about building a wall on both people's property, right? How much each person has to give of their property. I think. Let's check this here.
It says here, Daf Gimel with Aleph.
What?
The Hagos Ben Aryeh says it's Daf Gimel with Aleph.
Yeah, that's how the Gemara is. The Mishnah is at the beginning.
I think it's not going to be that far away if the Gemara is on Gimel with Aleph.
So the I'm not sure the Dover Muat is. This Mishnah. Okay, I guess we'll look at the Gemara for sure. If I don't look at the Mishnah, I don't know what it's referring to. Never used to have a shas directly behind me. Now it's very nice, convenient. Gimel Aleph.
Yeah.
Oh, I think you said about the when you have when you use half bricks, so there's a there is a gap between the two half bricks that you fill in with pitch. Okay, creasing, right? There's a creasing or levaning. Well, there was half bricks, levaning. So when you use levaning, they're half bricks, and those half bricks are have a little bit of a pitch between the two of them, cement to hold them in place. So the Mishnah doesn't tell us how much you have to allocate to that pitch between the two.
Okay.
That's what it's talking about. Okay. Okay, so B'chein, you know, b'chesh below the extra toast l'chumer perkam b'sukkah. B'sukkah suki kibshon. Kamar hasim l'chumer l'dak kabasi tuba. With pie, there's no question of what pie is, and where it comes out of chumrah, so we're not precise. When it comes out of kula, we have to be more precise because obviously we don't need to make it, but we're willing to be too machmir when it's a slight mistaken measurement. Kama kam shomer klal gadol mishum chumrah dosa davar. Klal gadol b'shabbos chim kamas acher. So it's not because necessarily there's a small cloud. Cloud gadol doesn't mean there's a small cloud, but it means that this is a major cloud in Torah, right? Like Rabbi Kiva says, it doesn't mean that there's a smaller cloud. It means that this is a major cloud. Okay, it's not. So the Gemara says possibly that cloud gadol, cloud kata. The Gemara says no, it doesn't work that way. There's only a cloud gadol means that's a major thing, not there's a bigger one and a smaller one in the same issue. Matzia misha tamid chokim al rabam. והתלמידים נזכור בתחילה לפני רבם, שזה ביג חידוש, פרקם דהיוס בשם אמרו והתומס וכולי, והטעם אומר הברייתא שהתלמידים קיבלו כך מרבם בתחילה בילדוסו, ושוב חזר בו בזקנוסו, הכי משתו ראשונה לא זז ממקומו. So in other words, we have the Talmidim are mentioned prior to the Rabbeim. The Rabbeim evidently then changed their minds after the Talmidim mentioned this. The Ben Ari provides over Jamar McCormick, which we're not going to look up right now. But as we it's interesting because in Bamitzia, the fourth parak, in the Bavli is called Hazov, and the Yerushalmi is called Hakesef. And the Yerushalmi's version is Rebbe's version from his youth. And then Rabbi, he held originally silver is considered to be metaltlin relative to gold, because gold is more valuable. And then later in life, he changed his mind, and he said no, gold is metaltlin relative to silver because silver is more what's the word, usable. What's the word for it? More current, I think. Currency which is more current. But anyway, so the Yerushalmi has the earlier version of the Mishnah, the Bavli has the later version of the Mishnah. So you could say that's fine that there was a Rebbe said something and he taught it in his youth, and then he changed his mind. So first, to bring it down the way Rebbe taught it to his Talmidim when he was younger, and then what his final position was when he was older. But Matzino Isha Chalekasim Tanoim Bedin. Wow, look at that. A feminist principle, right? Women argue with Tanoim about halacha. They sefta Meseres Chaim Bamatzia Perek Aleph. There's in Kalim the Tosefta is so long that it's divided into 3 parts. Baba Kama, Baba Tzia, and Baba Basra. So if ever anybody asks you a trivia question, where do we find Baba Kama, Baba Tzia, and Baba Basra, and not in Shas? The answer is in Tosefta, in Kalim. Okay, so that Tosefta we find that Bruya argued on whoever it was there. Some of them say Rabbi Yisrael Amar Yafa Amar Bruya. The came to Tosefta the Kalim Perek Dalet. Matzinu Shabito Shabichem and try to cholekasim imavia v'alocha kidvareha. Okay, it was worth learning all of Mavo just to learn this. And we see that a woman can argue with a Tana in halacha.
So does that open?
What? Well, you're not impressed.
What?
Tell us your wife and daughter. See what they say.
I'm impressed. I mean, but what does it mean, tachlis? Do we open up the
Tachlis means that you don't have to be, that a woman can have opinion in halacha, and her opinion has to be taken into account. I wrote a review article once, and not so long ago, about a book which was put out by Rabbi Riskin's Machon in Efrat, and it was called, I think it's called Mashe Lasech or something like that, and it was a book put out by women of halachic issues which they had clarified and in which they had poskened. And because he has machon to produce postkot, rabbaniyot and postkot, and I wrote a critical review of the book. But I made sure to write the critical review of the book only on the basis of their errors in the halachic process, not on the basis of their being women. So because I wanted to make the point that it's not writing against them as women, posting, right against them, but as poor poskim. So that was you see here that it's not that women can't provide pasak. If they're right, they're right. They're wrong, they're wrong. Okay. Matzino Shatana, I see you're too tired to get excited about this. Okay. Matzino Shatana Atzmo Misupak. We find out himself as unclear. The Libo Notel Lachmir. And we find that in his heart, it is inclined to be Macher. Kiai Pekka Kamadorim Meduda Ani Lecha. Is that a Lashon Net or not a Lashon Net? Rabbi Kiva Yachochech Lahachmir. Right now, chochech is interesting Lashon because chochech means he was, I'm not sure even translated. He was
sputtering.
What?
Sputtering.
Sputtering may be a good word, yes. But to be machmer, right? You can find chochech l'hakel, but you also find chochech l'hachmer, and you find that he's mesupik and says he has to be machmer. Interesting. Gabe heavy Ratz la Mishnah, Elam Matzias. We made Rabbi Mishnah Zu. What it qualifies, heavy Ratz la Mishnah was in the time before the Gemara. So therefore, heavy Ratz la Mishnah was for Rabbi's generation, but not for subsequent generations. Because they did not uproot that Mishnah from its place.
Okay.
Chayav Venga mitzvah. We find a chayav Mishnah which only a mitzvah. The Hagos Ben Ari is a bit of a grumble here. It says it's not a Mishnah, it's only a brisa. But the brisa says, Aviv chayav lemulo, avla sio isha. A father is required to do a bris milah for his son, etc., until it says that he has to marry him off to a woman. And when he was Farish Shishami, Yudam mitzvah, it's only a mitzvah, not mandatory, but something which is advisable. Like Rosh mitzvah means sometimes mandatory, sometimes advisable. Obviously, Shami is Rosh using in the sense of advisable. Rabbi Soloveitchik once told me years ago that even if you find the Rambam, and presumably also in Chazal, and maybe he'll get to this, I don't know, that the lashon of asur doesn't necessarily mean forbidden. Sometimes asur means something which is strongly discouraged.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be the flip side of this. Just like chayav can mean it's something which is strongly encouraged, also can mean that it's strongly discouraged.
Okay.
That he told me this about, for example, example would be asa l'adam l'lamed bito Torah. Person not to teach his daughter Torah. So that would mean not that it's actually prohibited, but strongly discouraged. Or that it's also to take money to learn in kollel. So also I mean it's strongly discouraged, but it's not specifically forbidden. Okay. Masina Mishnah Datani Yisur Lashon. We found a Mishnah that says an extra language that Fuki Minatana Shuska Mishnah Achra to preclude the statement of the Tana which comes after that. And the subsequent Mishnah. The Tzmura, the part came of the Tana of Vladan, before Lomali, whatever the case may be there. Doesn't sound particularly exciting principle. But see the Tana Omer Chiluk Kishnei Panim Mishum Shlo Yodeh Das Rabbanan the Pli Yolei Perak Torah for Kalpi. He said something which can go two ways because he was trying to say whatever Rabbanan say, I disagree with it. Rabbi Shimon Lo Yoda Mike Amir Rabbanan. he didn't know what the Rabbanan was saying. Yeah, Grella Mamish Kamisu. If you're saying you need a literal lottery, arguing in one respect. If we Anocha Kamar Kamisu, putting the lots on the soil Hashem or soil Azozo. They argue on in two things. So everybody's saying arguing either one aspect, either in two aspects. Matzino, the Tanya Bahanach Masnisin, Midyuka, Matana Bemasnisan Chrisi Lahedia. In one Mishnah, there's an inference, and a similar thing, another Mishnah said explicitly. Taitlas of Ikar Hacha Aide, where it says it explicitly, that's the primary source. Where it says it implicitly, that is Aide, it's on account of something else. Hacha Ikar Hasam, or vice versa. Hacha Ikar Hasam Aide, Beresh Chitas Kohen. It says anybody can shech, and even somebody's tummy, but it doesn't specify that specifically. It's just an inference because it's not the primary place for it to be mentioned. Okay? And obviously, it's not the primary place to talk about Tumah and Tara. Matzino Kare Reisha Dumia the Seifa. Sometimes it says that the Reisha is similar to the Seifa. Avagav Lo Dami Lagamri. Even though they're not completely comparable. The other Shili Ameniach. The Muke Reisha, the Nizak Bari Umazik Shema. The Nizak is saying your ox definitely gored my my animal, and the Mazik says maybe it did. But Seifa Mazik Bari, I'm sure that my ox didn't gore your animal. Nizak Shema. Nizak says maybe it did. Kamahasan Bari Shema Bari Chada Milsahi. It doesn't matter that the scenario is different. The principle is the same, and therefore it's the Reish and Seifa are consistent.
Okay.
Okay. Matzinu Tana Mishabeach Divrei Chavero. He praises the his friend's words. He says, "Wow, you said it's phenomenal." But we don't paskin like him. Paskin like the guy who said. Gave the praise, even though it would seem that the praise was, misplaced. Should I get partial? I forget who this is. I'm Rabbi Yochanan, I think. No, it can't be Yochanan, it's the Mishnah. It's Rabbi Yehuda. I wrote to Yakim Yasub Dini Mamas, and it says there, and she learned Dini Mamas by this Tana. I forget what the Tana is. And Mara says, even though it says that Allah, it was Mishabeach this Tana. Nevertheless, that doesn't mean halachos like it. And the Benaya brings down, we find this also in the Gemara. So the fact we praise somebody doesn't mean that we pass him like him. Okay? We don't make, even though the times names I mentioned, Mishnah actually ask on him from one place to another place. Ella stam nishnes. It's generic. We find this Tana holds this way. When we stama who amara, and we assume that he said it. Etc. Okay, now we have a whole long slew of when we say chisui mechsera and when not, with 8 principles. Do you want to do this today or leave us for next time?
I think we'll leave it till next time.
Okay.
All right. Shkoyach.
Okay. So mechsera, it had so many principles. Okay, we'll find out what they are. Okay, have a good week.
Thank you. You too.
Take care.
Bye.